I'll speak to, from the Taxpayers Alliance, Callum McGoldrick. Welcome, Callum. Thank you for joining us. You know, this is all very well, isn't it, what Esther McVey, the Common Sense Minister, says here. But there are already 700 equality, diversity and inclusion workers infesting Whitehall. Civil service is packed with them. In the Ministry of Defence alone, there are 60 of them. They call themselves Protecting the Protectors. Quite why we need so many diversity officers in the Ministry of Defence. What that does to defend the nation, I do not know. My point is Esther's initiative today is typical of this government. Finally, after 14 years, it's waking up to the concerns, the worries of the people and trying to come out with this kind of announcement. But it is their fault that the woke warriors have taken over Whitehall and now represent a politically motivated enemy to the government. It's their fault, isn't it? This is too little too late.
I think, first of all, thank you for having me on, Kevin. That's definitely one way to look at it. I think another is that you can see the civil service as a largely unaccountable blob. This new legislation that comes in will give ministers a lot more oversight into the hiring practices, specifically for EDI roles, which I'd hope would be in a step in the right direction to sort of curtailing the civil service being able to run riot with this sort of stuff.
Yeah, let's have a little reminder, shall we, of Esther McVey talking today. Take it away, Esther.
We have too often seen them distracted by fashionable hobby horses, especially when it comes to issues like equality and diversity. People want their public servants to be getting on with the job of making their lives better, not engaging in endless internal discussions about ideology, and I'm not prepared to see pointless job creation schemes for the politically correct. Therefore, there will be no more contracts for external diversity spending from this as soon as this guidance is made live, unless signed off by a government minister. That includes any agencies with current contracts, including Stonewall. And to make sure that does not inadvertently lead to an increase in internal EDI activity, Secretaries of State and permanent secretaries will take responsibility for that.
Okay, you get the idea there. She also says that she doesn't want any more EDI jobs, equality, diversity or inclusivity, solely EDI jobs outside of the Human Resources Department. Well, why doesn't, Callum, why doesn't she say she doesn't want any more of those jobs inside the Human Resources Department? If you read the small print of this, there's already 700 of these people working in Whitehall, and I don't think this initiative is going to make any difference because all the departments are free to hire as many EDI exclusive workers within Human Resources as they like.
Yeah, I think she also touched on the third-party groups as well that are involved. Yeah. And we've seen the membership of Stonewall is actually reducing, and especially in Whitehall, which shows that the government can have some impact in this. I think it's something that they'll have to try to change quite slowly, which is unfortunate, but is just a sort of reality of the current situation. You look at sort of the legislation that means that a lot of these people legally have to be hired, and you think, well, that means you have to go to Parliament and get the law changed first.
Totally agree. I mean, would you accept my point? I mean, you know, I'm not knocking Esther McVey today. This is, you know, a kind of rare outbreak of common sense in Westminster, but it's taken basically 14 years. The Tory government, the successive Tory governments, have allowed this woke invasion to take Whitehall over, and now guess what? The government has got a load of bolshy civil servants who won't do what they're told, in fact keep taking legal action against government policy. Civil servants are there for one thing: to instigate government policy, and when they refuse to do so, the country they work for, is in deep trouble. So the thing I would say about Esther McVey and her wise woke words is it's too little, too late, and you should never have let this happen.
Of course, yeah, I think we also did an investigation recently into local authorities and found that they have 717 roles costing 52 million. over the last 3 years dedicated to EDI. It's more than just Whitehall. It's a sort of public sector problem. And I really hope that we see that these changes do actually have an impact and also are seen in across the public sector.
Certainly agree with you. Thank you so much for your time. Callum McGoldrick there from the Taxpayers Alliance.